Hey everyone, it's been a while since my last video here on the Mathnasium. I guess my dog ran away, and I've been I've spent the last month looking for him. Um, I don't think you're gonna believe my excuse, so just kidding. It's nice to be back, and let's get started with a little refresher. I want to start things off slow. I want to ease into making my videos here. We're going to do a little refresher on long division because later down the road, we're going to be doing, dividing polynomials before we know it. So first, before we begin, we need to think about what does division mean? Well, much like multiplication is repeated addition, division is repeated subtraction, right? And so this division problem we see here asks the question, how many times can I subtract 2 from 10? So it asks this question, how many times can I subtract 2 from 10? And of course, we know that the answer is 5. We can subtract that 5 times. All of them have 5. Now, when we're doing division, each of these numbers has a name. And so let's kind of go through in an order that makes more sense. The 10 in all of these problems is the thing that's being divided up. The way that I remember what that is Alaska divides up money every year and hands it out to its residents. So this is our dividend, much like the state divides up the permanent fund dividend, or we get a permanent fund dividend, right? Okay. The dividend, okay. All right, and then over here we have our divisor, the thing that is dividing. We are dividing by 2. How many times can I subtract 2 from 10? And then lastly, we have our answer, which is, how many times can I subtract 2 from 10? 5. This is our quotient. Okay, great. Let's go ahead and pop off a couple long division problems. So some of you may not have learned this. I know that it's quite possible for students to go through school and not have seen long division, or at least not have seen it enough. So we're going to do a little refresher here. And so basically what it is you don't go through and ask this based on the whole number. How can I subtract 6 from 7,668? How many times can I subtract that? Instead, what we do is we go through kind of digit by digit. So we'll say, how many times can I subtract 6 from 7? Once. Okay. And then we multiply these two things. 1 times 6 is 6, and subtract the bottom from the top, which will give us the answer of 1. Now, let me kind of break this down, what's actually happening. This 1 doesn't actually represent 1 time. It represents 1,000 times. So we've subtracted 6 1,000 times from 7,668, which is, we've subtracted 6,000, right? Which will leave us 1,668 left over. Okay, now we continue the process. Can I subtract 6 from 1? No. Bring this 6 down. Can I subtract 6 from 16? Yes. How many times can I subtract 6 from 16? Well, 6 times 2 is 12. So you want to go the highest one that you can that is not over, highest multiple of 6 that's not over 16, which is 2. 2 times 6 is 12, and we subtract again to get 16 minus 12 is 4. And we repeat this process, bringing the 6 down, like so. 6 times 8 is 48, so this should be a 7. 7 times 6 is 42. Subtract to get 4. And lastly, bring the 8 down, like so. 6 times 8 is 48. We can subtract. Now what we get here is we get a remainder of 0. This 0 is basically how much was left over after our subtraction. If you get a remainder of 0, what that means that the dividend is can be divided by, or is divisible by the divisor. Okay, this is our remainder. There is no remainder. When you get a remainder of 0, this number is divisible by 6. Okay, so lots of things can be said about this. 7,668 divided by 6 is 1,278. Or you can also say that like 6 times 1,278 is 7,668. Sweet. All right, cool. Let's try another one. Now, some of the problems are going to be a little gross. Like, you would start off with this one. You can look at this and say, oh my gosh, I can't subtract 13 from 6, so you go straight to 68. Now, you're going to have to know your multiples of 13. So if you don't know them, it helps to just write a couple down and go a couple times, add 13, which will be 52. And then another one will be 65. Let's just do a couple more anyway. 78. We'll stop there for now, this process. So 13 times 1, 13 times 2, 13 times 3, 13 times 4, so on and so forth. So I can subtract 13 from 68. 78 is too much, 65 is less. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. I can subtract. And we're trying to not use a calculator. Now, you can check your answer with answers on your homework with a calculator. But 5 times 13 is 65. Subtract. We get 3. 8 minus 5 is 3. Bring the 3 down. And then that'll be a 2, because 26 is the largest multiple, smaller than 33. 26. 33 minus 26 gives us a 7. So we brought the 3 down there. Now we're bringing the 8 down for the next step. And we know that 78 is a multiple of 13. It is 13 times 6. So then we can finish out 6 times 13 is 78. And we get a remainder of 0, which means that 6,838 is divisible by 13. Okay, the last type of division problem that you might see and that we're going to need, you'll need for the future of polynomials and doing fun stuff with polynomials, is you're going to need to do the cases in which you do have a remainder. And how do we handle that? So let's take a look at this example here. How many times can I subtract 60 from 7? Well, we can't, so we got to go to 74, and it's only once. Multiples of 60 are 60, 120, 180, 240. You can just write the multiples of 6 and add a 0. 300, so on and so forth. So let's go through. I can subtract 60 once. I bring my 60 down. I subtract 74 minus 60 is 14. I can't subtract 60 from 14, so I got to bring the 6 down. All right, so which is the one that's just below? It'll be 2. 2 times 60 is 120. subtract yet again, and we'll get 26. Bring the 4 down, like so. And when you get to that last digit, right, our decimal place is right here. When you get to that last digit, you don't have to bring any more numbers down for this assignment. Don't keep going. Oh, excuse me. So what's the multiple that is less than 264? That is 60 times 1, 2, 3, 4. So 124. 4 times 60 is 240. Subtract, which gives us the result 24. So here we have a remainder. Here we have a remainder. How many times could I subtract 60 from 7,464? 124 times, but I couldn't get the 125th time because I couldn't take away 60 from 24 from an elementary school standpoint necessarily. So what this means is this 24 is actually part of a mixed number. It's the numerator of a mixed number. My answer, my quotient, is 124 and 24 over 60. That 24 goes in the numerator of the fraction. The quotient becomes the whole number, and the 60 goes in the denominator of the fraction. And this can be simplified. 24 and 60 are both divisible by 12. So this will be simplified to 124 and 2/5. Okay, so that's our final quotient there. And that's how long division works. If you have a remainder, make sure you have it in simplest form. Well, thanks for watching the video, and this is going to be helpful for us to have in the back of our minds as we move forward with polynomials. We'll see you next time.